You were following breaking news tonight. Vivek Ramaswamy out of the race for the Republican presidential nomination. He just made the announcement after.
Oh my God, is that Vivek Ramaswamy?
Oh, hey man, how are you? Well, why don't you come on in? Welcome to BMW. Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm sure you heard that the mainstream media messed up my campaign and unfortunately forced me to drop out, but there's always more. I'm now working at the greatest car company in the world, BMW. Do you actually know what BMW stands for?
I don't.
You don't? Why don't you come over here? Come over here, take a look at this. You see? It says BMW. Stands for Brown Man Winning.
Brown Man Winning. Brown Man Winning.
Actually, I'm running now to be Vice President of the United States of America. Trump Ramaswamy, 2024.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, who, despite the fact that he is out of the GOP race, he is finding a way to still stay relevant in the media and also apparently when it comes to the policy of the Trump administration.
So we talked about a number of issues backstage, which I've actually championed in this race that I do think would be beneficial to the America First movement for President Trump to take on, and I think he was very amenable to many of them. Opposition to a central bank digital currency.
And tonight I'm also making another promise to protect Americans from government tyranny. As your president, I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency. You know about that?
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Apparently, Vivek is already having an effect on the policy of the Trump administration, okay? You love to see it, right? You love to see Vivek pushing policy and still trying to make an impact despite the fact that, again, he is out of the race. Meanwhile, on social media, there's a lot of outrage over a alleged racist joke that the Babylon Bee made about Vivek Ramaswamy being a part of the Trump administration in the position of running the White House 7-Eleven. Okay, as you can see here, you have Vivek in a 7-Eleven uniform outside of the White House 7-Eleven. Clearly and obviously, this is a joke that plays off of the stereotype that Indians, run gas stations, right? They, work at gas stations. Again, it's the gas station Indian stereotype. Now, me personally, I think that it's funny, okay? Do I think it's the most clever joke in the world? No, but at the same time, it's funny. Again, I tell you guys, my favorite jokes are so-called racist jokes, okay? Because, there's a little bit of truth, right, in some of these stereotypes. And I think that it's good to poke fun at each other in our stereotypes in a way that we can all, sit back and laugh and, just crack a joke and that's it, right? Move on with our lives, right? But apparently that's not the case in 2024. You have some people that were triggered by this. In fact, a lot of people were triggered by this. They were, accusing the Babylon Bee of racism, okay? Especially people on the left. They are desperately trying to use Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley as examples that, hey, there's a lot of racism that exists on the right, even though, approximately 25 to 28% of the evangelical white Christians who the liberal media says are racist voted for Indians, right, in the GOP primary. Again, the party that's supposed to be racist towards so-called immigrants, even though they're not really immigrants, but that's supposed to be racist towards brown folks. About a fourth of them voted for an Indian in the Iowa caucuses. I would say that's pretty good, okay, for a state that's supposed to be so racist with evangelical white Christians, according to the mainstream liberal media.
New Hampshire.
And I think to the point that you made, Steph, I mean, it's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion that you can say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. She's getting, birthered by Donald Trump. And I don't care how much the donor class likes her, which will ramp up a lot, the better she does in New Hampshire. So it's still a challenge. I don't see how she becomes the nominee of that party with Donald Trump still around. I can't picture it happening. Maybe it could happen. Ron DeSantis' only argument for staying in it is he's the white guy, that he can still make the appeal to white evangelicals.
Yeah, so you gotta love Joy Reid, who's always boohoo whining and crying about racism, white supremacy, cultural appropriation, when she's a black lady wearing a blonde wig. I think she's so Trump deranged that she's starting to look like Trump, right? I mean, this lady is literally colonized, okay? Look at her hair. She's colonized, okay? But yet, she's sitting here always boo-hoo-whining and crying about racism and bigotry. Again, it's fascinating stuff, okay? But again, this is what the left does, right? Over, simple jokes. And also some people on the right as well, too. As you can see here, Matt Biner says, racism does not exist. Babylon B. Some people saying this is in poor taste. This person says, I'm not woke, but that's pretty racist, too far. Tim Young says, so is this the joke that Trump values him so poorly that he only sees him as a clerk at 7-Eleven, or that you think he's a clerk at 7-Eleven because of a tired stereotype about Indian people? Yeah, so even TYT chimed in on this. And again, they're using this as proof and evidence. People on the right are racist towards Vivek and Nikki Haley.
Conversation. Maybe we have a back and forth. Maybe we have a debate. But the idea that this has never been a racist country is just so obviously incorrect, inaccurate, and ridiculous. And she said that, by the way, on the same day that the Babylon Bee, which is a satirical, like right-wing publication, it's like the right-wing version of The Onion, got some backlash for posting a parody article about Haley's former competitor, Vivek Ramaswamy. So you're seeing the tweet or the X post in question. Trump promises Vivek an administration position running the White House 7-Eleven. We've got some excerpts from the piece and also some backlash from conservatives in regard to the Babylon Bee's post here. But initial thoughts on it, John?
Yeah, on the Ramaswamy thing. Yeah, it's as lazy as it is racist. It is a joke that didn't need to be made, not just to not needlessly offend people who deserve some compassion, but also because, are you not satisfied with the number of times that specific joke has been made? Like, did you as a comedy writer think, oh, thank God I am here to right this wrong that not enough people have talked about 7-Elevens or whatever? It's just so lazy. It's the sort of thing that should be your last attempt at comedy before you quit and just become a right-wing, like independent media grifter or whatever. Like, you tried to do the creative thing and it didn't work. So now you just say more explicitly racist things into a camera for YouTube. That's what I would say.
Now, I refuse to be offended by this because the very person it's directed toward thinks that there's no problem with it. So if he thinks that it's totally okay for this type of stereotyping to happen, all right. But
yeah, the person that this is directed towards definitely thinks that it's totally fine and okay. He's not nearly as hurt and as offended as some people on the right and the left when it comes to this joke, okay? He actually responded to Matt Walsh, who was basically upset with conservatives who were offended by the joke, basically saying that there's some people on the right who are becoming just as woke as people on the left, which is totally true, especially when it comes to certain groups of people that you can't really talk about. But Vivek responded to Matt Walsh and said, I'm a survivor, right? I'm a survivor. And then he followed up on this video from Patrick Bet David in a 7-Eleven getting a hot dog, right? Let's play the video.
What are you doing?
See, this is a dream. When you make money, you get to afford to buy some high-end type of food. And nothing says more high-end than hot dogs at 7-Eleven. And if you've had this, you know how great this is.
How you feeling, Eric?
10 feet tall and bulletproof. Oh, that mustard.
Look at this, look at this, look at this. Ah!
Yeah, so Vivek responded to this. He said, thank you for coming. And don't forget to grab a Slurpee. Yeah, so again, Vivek is taking this in stride, right? I mean, he's, having fun with it like he should, right? He's clearly and obviously not offended by this joke. And I don't understand why anybody really is offended by it, even if you don't think it's the most creative joke in the world. It is a joke that does play off a stereotype that, honestly, at the end of the day, if there is a stereotype for people to be mad about, this ain't it, bruh, because ultimately the joke's on kind of everybody else in this country in the sense that Indian folks have the stereotype of owning gas stations, right? 7-Elevens, which, I have a lot of Indian friends, and I gotta tell you, that stereotype is 100% true, right? Between gas stations, hotels, smoke shops, they've basically got that down pat, right? They've mastered that business model. But it says a lot about them and their culture and how, despite the fact that they come from a country in which, some people come in not having too much money. Some actually do have quite a bit of money because they have family that own land, or they come from, the upper class in their country or whatever. But regardless, there are a lot of them that do come here with no money, and they are very frugal. They're extremely conservative with their culture, okay? And they work really, really, really hard, right? They buy these gas stations, they buy these hotels, right? In some cases, they live in the hotels, and they save up their money, and then they buy another hotel, they save up their money, then they buy another gas station, they save up their money, and then, they buy more things, more property, until eventually, they become multimillionaires. So that gas station Indian that people make fun of for working in a 7-Eleven may actually own the 7-Eleven, okay? He may own the 7-Eleven, he may own the gas station, and he's probably a multimillionaire. There's a reason why Indians are the top earners per household in the United States. And that stereotype kind of alludes to that, right? So again, if there's a stereotype that you should be proud of, right? That's one of them, right? That's a stereotype where actually the joke is on you, right? I'm just saying, most, people in this country, right, when we're talking about race or ethnicities or whatever, yeah, you should strive for a stereotype that you can easily spin into a positive, right? At least the stereotype doesn't have anything to do with being lazy or stealing or committing crimes or, doing all types of other crazy stuff that, again, is negative. So I don't blame Vivek for taking a joke in stride and laughing because, again, the joke is really on everybody else. This is how Indians are so successful. This is how they build wealth. Right? Again, it's amazing. I love how he handles these things because he could have easily boohoo-wide and cried racism. But again, as a self-made billionaire who, again, understands that a lot of the values that Indians have, the traditional values that they have, contribute to the wealth that they build and why they're so successful. Again, this is why you can just laugh it off, right? Laugh it off, okay? It ain't really that big of a deal. Who cares? Okay, the joke is funny. Is it the most creative thing in the world? No, but hey, at the end of the day, it's a joke, and this is not the worst stereotype to have, right? And the people that's boohoo, whining, and crying racism, again, you're more hurt than the person that the joke was actually directed towards. So hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.